are you stuck up? My mother kind of leaned in, because I didn't realize what I was saying to her at the time. She kind of leaned in, and she said to me, she says, what did you say? One more time. Are you stuck up? And I looked at my mother, and I could see the water come up in my mother's eyes. And my mother looked at me, she said, son, I never thought I was better than anyone. I never raised my kids to think that I was better than anyone. That's why if you ever ask me, say, John, well, who are you? My ideas wasn't to be no activist. My idea wasn't to be no symbol in the Olympics. I just wanted to be Earl Carlos' son, my daddy's son, no more, no less. So my mother said, I don't go downstairs because of caterpillars. An insect, caterpillars. You mean you're not going downstairs because of caterpillars? My mother said, son, I work at Bellevue Hospital in the operating room. You have to be sterile in the operating room. Do you remember what happens to a caterpillar when it falls out the tree and hits your neck and hits your arm? It was so fragile, as soon as you touch it, it busts on you. And once it busts you in the sand that's in them, by the time you popped it on your neck and move your hand, you got a rash running up and down your neck. When my mother said there wasn't no thought about it, I've experienced it many times myself. So I said, you know, it's not fair that my mother should have to stay cooped up in the house. Something needs to be done. At that time, I think I was like 13, 14 years old. I went to the manager's office. Come in. We have a problem, sir. What's the problem? These caterpillars. What do you mean the caterpillars? I said, we have too many caterpillars and you're not doing anything about them. Get out of my office. You don't belong in here. I said, I'm not going nowhere. I live here. I'm entitled to come in and talk about this. You push the little trap button on the desk, the panic button they call it. Next thing the police, project police come in, and they had an old black guard. He was like a gray suit. He come in. They grabbed me. John, you need to come out. I said, well, wait a minute. No, you need to come out now. Well, I broke away. And I looked at my man. I told him, I said, hey, man, let me tell you something. I have a right to be here. But also, I got a right to tell you this. You got 48 hours. You got 48 hours. He said, so the cop said to me, he said, are you threatening him? I said, no, sir. I would never threaten him, but it's a money-back guarantee. He got 48 to take care of it. Now, how did I learn about 48 hours? Because I got in the mix in a lot of things in my life, and when my father got wind of what I did, my father raised me on the 48-hour theory. Like I listened to this I was sitting over there, Kareem's daughter, and I think about her grandfather. When I got in the situation and he came and he wore that butt out, and while he was at the closing end of wearing that butt out, he said, I'm calling your father so he can finish the job. So I understood what 48 hours meant. If you can't tell me something to make me understand what you did was logical, you got a problem. So I grew up into that theory. So I told the project manager, said, you got that 48. But when 49 hours came by, I went to all the women that sit downstairs. All the kids was playing the pit down there. I said, do me a favor. Today, it might be a problem out here. Go to the other end of the project or go upstairs. Oh, crazy Johnny getting ready to do something. I was always classified as crazy because I was always going upstream. You know, you have to be classified as crazy if you're doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing. You're like, I'm afraid to offend my offenders. That's what a lot of people think. I'm afraid to offend my oppressor. You know, it's like saying, you got your foot on my neck, I can hardly breathe, but I don't want to offend you by asking you to take your foot off. You know, that's how I did that. So I sat back and I looked at him and I said, okay, after the people moved, I went down to a gas station. My partner's father owned a gas station right there.